The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to Ask for Candy, where a bunch of powerhouse women and a few brave dudes get together online to talk about sex, love, relationships, and what it takes to be amazing on the daily. Who I am Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. I teach and inspire audacious intimacy to powerful professional grown women who want real relationships from seductive singlehoods. And more importantly, I help hardworking women who have survived abuse be vibrant, alive, magnetic, and passionate while creating healthy, intimate relationships. And tonight I am coming to you from uptown, honey, probably in my own room. Yes, I am in my own room. No problems about it. I'm here. I see my Lee has already joined. What's up, Lee? And yeah, I'm uptown in Harlem tonight. Tonight I have a very special guest. But before I get to my guest, and I want to call out all the different places you guys are watching and things like that. But before I get to that, I want to make an announcement that I've made previously, but now we really got to get to work and get into the thick of it. This summer, my theme is Badass Bachelor. So I want to interview you on this podcast this summer. So I want you to stay tuned to the end of the show to hear what all the criteria are. But besides I'll tell you all those amazing qualities that you'll need to have later, but you'll also need to know that you have to have a strong Wi-Fi connection, a place to plug in, and a problem-solving message to offer the world. So if that's you and you're a single man over 35, I got more criteria I'm given at the end. You know how women are. We have criteria for our badass bachelors. You got to come correct. You got to be wonderful. But I'll tell you about that at the end of the show. Happy Monday, everyone. Maybe you are listening to us on your smart device, on your TuneIn app, listening to Armed Radio, or maybe you're in the garden on armedradioglobal.com, where you can listen to us and listen to all kinds of different shows. I hope that you go and check them out. Also, we're on iHeartRadio, so if you have an Alexa, you can ask for Candy. And for the streamers, we are available on both Spotify and on Spreaker. Or maybe you're live here with me on Facebook. And as you trickle in, you know that you're part of this conversation, so you can join in. A very exciting guest tonight, like I said. And also, I'm going to be sharing soon on the business page. So if you can go on the business page, Candace Harper Love Coach on Facebook. And then you can also email me, askforcandypodcast@gmail.com. And you know that I will answer those questions in a later broadcast. But this is the point of the show where we do our sharing. So if you're already on, I want you to share to whatever pages and groups that you like to share to. Right now, I am sharing to my business page, so that everybody over there can watch. And then I'm also going to share to the Creative Love Collective, which is my group. Hopefully you guys have joined. I want you guys to join the Creative Love Collective, and I also want you to join Armed Radio Group News. That way you can see all the other shows that are on the Armed Radio channel, and there's a lot of really great informative shows. Right now I'm getting the sharing in, doing all of that. Now, if this is the first time that you have ever tuned into the show, hi Denise, hi honey. Like I said, I'm Candace Harper, lovecoach.com. My talent is conversation. My passion is personal growth. And my purpose is to teach and inspire radical self-acceptance of myself and others so that we can all have our best possible love life. And that is why this is a conversation. So, those of you, especially on the Facebook Live, you can interact with us. Those of you who come back again and again, like my Lee who's here, you can talk to me. You can talk to us during the show. Even when my guest is on, it's great if you have questions, if things come up for you and you want to talk about it. We're not here to hand down a bunch of dating and relationship rules or rights and wrongs. We're not here to shame your love situation. Our only intention is to create audacious intimacy, seductive singlehoods, and healthy relationships. So tonight and every Monday night, we're going to do what it is we do, which is have conversations that engage, educate, and or enlighten all of us in the areas of love, sex, relationships, and vibrating high. I think it is about time maybe to bring in my special guest. Let me see if he's on the, let me invite him in, see if he's on the page, give you a little intro about him. While we're waiting for him, I want you guys to know that the goal of tonight's show is to help us all understand how to segue through the stages from dating to in a relationship. Because I feel like, and in an effective way, because I feel like that's one of those things that can get a little bit tricky, right? I feel like, you know, it's hard to know sometimes, especially if you're of a certain generation, like I myself am, and a lot of you guys are. Let's actually coming on soon, so I can introduce him. And we're gonna get into this. Hi, Jonathan.
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Welcome. Yay. I'm glad we worked out all our technical difficulties. We got this going, right?
I have to play with my phone because I can barely hear you.
Really?
Okay, that's better.
Is that better? Oh, good.
That's
Okay.
better for me.
Well, I was just about to introduce you, so I want to tell everybody about you, and then I'm going to give you a chance to get related with everybody who's listening, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
Jonathon Aslay. Am I saying your name right? Aslay or Aslay?
Perfect.
Oh,
Perfect.
Known as America's leading midlife dating and relationship coach, Jonathon Aslay is a defender and protector of women's hearts around the world. I love that. He helps women transform from attracting Mr. Wrong into finding their Mr. Right. Jonathon, a successful coach, speaker, and author of Unlocking the Male Mind, Finding Love Online, and Why Men Pull Away. Ladies, I know you want to, honey, I want to know. Jonathon is like a guy spy to the male mind who truly understands the way a single or divorced man thinks and acts. He's a master at helping women recognize and distinguish the differences between men who are emotionally unavailable from those who are truly ready for love. Ah, that's God's work you're doing there, Jonathon.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Tell us
Likewise, my dear, likewise.
Oh, thank you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit more, you know, in depth. What do you want the people to know before we get started and dive deep?
What do you want to know about me or the world, or, you know, just love on each other more? That would be what I want people to do.
Yeah, but what about you? What's some things we can know about you?
You know, that makes it, well, you just read my bio. I live at the ocean, or live at the beach. I have an ocean view. I'm very happy. I'm blessed with amazing friends and family. I lost 25 pounds since the first of the year.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, just changed the way I eat, and boy, the pounds just rolled off.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's good to know. See, I always feel like it's good to have a couple personal details because there's always people out there who are like, yeah, me too. I think that's awesome. So I don't know if you're ready to just go ahead and do the deep dive. I'll tell you this, Jonathon. I told you I was looking at your YouTube videos, and a lot of what you said in your YouTube videos really resonated with me because I always say that I'm the coach on the court. Like, I'm in my own dating journey and everything is, you know, along with coaching women on their dating journey. So, you know, one thing that I'm more of a self-love coach than I am really I coach relationships too, but more of a self-love coach than anything else. So that I feel like is my zone of genius, right? But I bring on experts because there's certain areas of dating where I'm just like, that is not my zone of genius. Like this figuring out who's to chase who's pursuing who, and how often to call and things like that. Like when it gets to that sort of those layers, I'm not so adept at that. So I really love watching,
I can relate.
Right? But you have a lot of nuggets of wisdom that you in your YouTube videos that I think were really helpful and sort of caused some breakthroughs for me. So I feel like it's stuff that people out there want to know. You know?
Well, I hope I do offer some ahas, and it's more about offering a perspective, because many of us are dating with the blinders on. Okay, so the world according to Jonathan or Candace or Tammy or Phil or whatever, and it's what I'd like to invite people to do is just expand their horizons, because many of us have been pigeonholed, especially for the folks in midlife, And I say midlife is after baby making years and before retirement. So mostly the Gen Xers and the baby boom generation.
Yeah.
With an old paradigm. In fact, for many of us, our paradigm was what we had in our 20s 30 years ago. So we didn't grow up with technology and we didn't grow up with text messaging and computers, and ghosting was mostly done by women. In fact, in the past, all the ghosting was done by women. A girl would give out her phone number at a bar, and she just wouldn't answer the phone.
Or give out the wrong number.
Yeah, give out the wrong number. So, now it's a two-way street, ghosting, and so, because it used to be I'm going to use ghosting as an example. Ghosting used to just mean I'm blowing you off. Yeah. Which women did a lot of.
True.
So now it's interesting that it's kind of come around. But that's what I'd like to talk about. So for those listening, it's my invitation for you is to expand your horizons and take the blinders off and maybe see this thing called dating with the eyes of love. That's my invitation for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. So I have some questions.
Sure.
That I put together. So now we're opening ourselves up to looking at this through the eyes of love. And I totally I love that concept, and I get what you're saying. And I feel like, from a woman's perspective, it's like there's a certain level of having to, be in your vulnerability, right, around it. And also,
I'm going to ask you, by the way, Candace.
Yes.
I don't know what to do, but if I get a notification on my phone, it silences you. So I may have to ask you to repeat yourself. I apologize.
That's okay.
I didn't figure out how to do that beforehand. So please continue.
Yeah. So, I feel like on a certain level, there's especially when it comes to, here's my thing. All right, I'm gonna come clean. A lot of people tell me, especially in my dating life these days, when I was younger and in my early 20s, and I was in a relationship for most of my 20s, but when I was dating in that late teens, early 20s pocket, I was very doing whatever I wanted to do, a lot of ghosting, a lot of not calling people back and getting chased.
Were you wild?
I was a little bit of a wild girl, but
yeah, I could see that.
But I was getting chased. I was that girl that men were wanting to take out. And I wasn't the prettiest girl on campus, but what I was just engaging and fun and, adventurous. And so I never really had to spend a lot of time thinking about whether I call someone back or making sure that I call anyone. Or in fact, the relationship that I was in for 13 years, it took a year of him chasing me before I was like, oh, all right, I'll give you a date. So in this new sort of era of life, now I'm in my 40s. I know a lot of people out there in their 40s who are listening in 50s and 60s. So in this new sort of era with social media, one thing that I have a really difficult time with navigating is the feedback I keep getting is that I don't call, I don't reach out, I don't seem interested. I knew you were going to do that. So my first question is, because you said something in one of your videos about meeting each other on the 50-yard line. And I do have an old paradigm, an old story that says that men want to chase, that they want to be challenged, that they want to feel like they're the ones who conquered and caught you.
By the way, the reason why I did that, because I want to just jump right in. So let's be real about the chase, okay?
Okay.
I don't know you from an atom. You're a total stranger. I chase you. Why am I chasing you? Is it to be in a fully committed relationship? Is it invest my money with you and go on vacation? What's the impetus for chase? What's the motivation? 99 out of 100 times is I want to jump your bones.
Yeah. Definitely when you were young, for sure. That was definitely.
Yeah, but that's still true. Hey, look, I'm 56-year-old. I was in a group setting recently, and I was attracted to some women, and on some level, my internal biology wants to chase you. And what am I chasing? I'm chasing the sex. So while the chase might feel very attractive, very flattering, especially to one's ego,
Yeah.
because that all that does is flatter. And that's why your ego said, yeah, I can ghost you, it doesn't matter. Your ego said, yeah, I can string you along. Your ego did all these things to validate yourself.
Yeah.
But that in no way means when a man chases, he wants a fully committed relationship with leading the partnership. So my invitation is to first take out any story or meaning behind the chase.
Okay.
Now, because here's the thing, so we have our personality, who we are, and we have our soul, okay? Our soul is just purely love. So when two souls meet on the 50-yard line, they're going to have the most amazing relationship in their life. And it's not generated by ego. The man doesn't need to chase you, and the woman doesn't need to play games to convince you to like him.
Yeah.
Souls start on the 50-yard line. Now, how do you see someone's soul? You take out all the games, and you begin with radical honesty. Now, but how do you get to that point? Because that's not going to happen when you meet someone.
Yeah.
It's about slowing down the process. If there's intensity from the man and you're attracted to him and you want to explore it, then from a woman's perspective, it's slowing down the process. Okay? Just calming it down. Now, let's just say you're interested in a man, but he's not chasing you. He's demonstrating interest. Then you start moving closer to the 50-yard line.
But
okay? What that might look like, let me tell you what that might look like. So he sends a text message. You send a text. Like he sends a text message, you respond. Then maybe a day later, you decide to send a text message. You make effort, investment to the 50-yard line. You're not doing this lean back approach that a lot of people talk about, or men like to be chased things. No, at our age, we men need to know that you're interested or we're fucking done.
Yeah, I noticed that. I noticed that. But what is the distinction between the chasing and he's like how do you distinguish between, someone who is engaging with you or pursuing you?
Well, first there's the vibe. There's whenever there's sexual vibe, that's usually chase. Versus when someone is truly inquisitive and wants to get, my video stopped.
I can still hear you.
If someone is truly inquisitive and is making effort to get to know you, get to know your history, and you're doing the dance as well. It fascinates me, Candace. I've gone on so many dates where women haven't asked me any questions to get to know me. And I'm like, really? You like talking about yourself, but you're not asking. Here's the thing. Asking questions is how you get to know another human being.
Yeah. That's true.
So it's the dance, and it also goes a step further. You have a great first date. You send a message, hey, I really appreciated getting together with you. Yeah. And hey, you know what? I really appreciated that you treated this time. How about I take you out next time?
See,
that might feel very uncomfortable, but let me tell you the value of doing this, okay?
Okay.
First off, let me say the key words. I really appreciated spending time with you, and I really appreciated you treating when we got together. I would like to show my appreciation and treat you the next time. Let me tell you what this does. I said the word appreciation a couple times. Yeah. You've demonstrated in that conversation you're willing to invest in him, okay?
Yeah.
And what this sends is a signal to his brain. It says a signal to a man's brain, oh my God, she's partnership material. She's partnership material. I sent out an email, I sent out a post in a group of 15,000 men. I'm a part of a group on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I laid out the exact scenario I just talked about. Over 400 men wrote back. This is the words. She's one of a kind. She's a keeper. I want to spend the rest of my life with her. I mean, it went on and on and on. A couple guys go, I would never let a woman pay a second date. Those are control freaks, but that's another conversation. And I'll talk about that.
So wait, you think that, tell me honestly, you think that all men who say that they, like I've dated men who like will not let me take out my wallet. I'm not mad at that. You feel
That's not what I said. Okay. Did you hear my words?
Well, you said
I really appreciate.
You said that.
Wait. We're not talking about at the date. The man. Here's the thing. When you do that by calling him up and scheduling a date with him, by actually making that effort, you're demonstrating partnership skills. What he does, what happens when, and then you plan the date. If he accepts your generosity, that's great.
Uh-huh.
If he says, you know what, I like to take charge, I like to pay, you've still demonstrated your partnership material.
Got it. I mean,
now you're having a lot of uncomfortableness, which tells me something.
No,
There's
I'm not.
I feel. Come on, I feel it in your voice.
No,
you're uncomfortable.
Jonathan, I'm not uncomfortable with what you're saying at all. As a matter of fact, I'm totally open to it. I'm just like, what it is that when you have a paradigm of a certain dynamic of way things that have worked, it's just hard to imagine, but it's not something that makes me feel uncomfortable. I think that what comes up around what you're saying is that, one of the things that I think about different times, and I'm definitely someone who works in extremes, right? So just like there was a huge pocket of my life, my dating life, where I just allowed myself to be chased and didn't, bother making a lot of effort. I also was on the other end of that extreme where it was like I was very proactive about pulling someone into my life, especially there was a short period of time where I got out of a relationship and felt like I needed to get back in one. I was very desperate about it. And I felt like the fine line here, because I don't think that what you're saying is wrong. I don't think there's anything wrong with offering.
Well, there's more I want to elaborate on it, so go ahead.
But I think that what it is finding that comfortable place of not feeling like because here's the thing, the vibe that I get a lot from men and a lot of the feedback that I get, even when I work with couples, is I feel like with both men and women, but men especially, do not like to feel like they're being pushed or cajoled or demanded or told. And
so let me, I'd like to jump in. Please forgive me.
Go ahead.
So I laid out a scenario. He's treated. Okay. Now, whether you do this on the second or third date, you make that same generous offer. All right. What that also does is put things on an even playing field as well. You're really, so the ladies listening, one of the challenges you have to assess is he in it just for the sex or is he in it for something more? Okay. By actually creating a level playing field, by investing in him, and then he invests in you the next time, and you invest in him the next time, okay? By actually taking turns in the investment of the planning and treating of the dating, you're actually, you're in an opportunity to develop the most important aspect of any relationship.
Got it.
Bump, bump, bump. You want to hear what that is?
Partnership.
No.
Okay, what is it in your
Okay. So I've interviewed I've interviewed dozens of couples. It feels like hundreds, but dozens and dozens of couples have been married 30, 40, 50, even 66 years like my parents were in the picture behind me. They all said the same thing. I married my best friend. Friendship is the reason why most budding, brand new dating opportunities never turn into anything serious. They haven't developed a level of friendship. So by taking the element of the romance off the table and investing in getting to know one another without the hype of romance. Romance is flowers or men treating or taking charge and all that stuff. When you actually invest in the friendship piece for both men and women, you have a deeper, richer relationship that even if it doesn't work out, you can end it with dignity and with your head high, because there won't be ghosting by a friend. There'll be a real conversation saying, you know what, I really think you're fantastic. I just don't think we're a good fit. And it actually, by women actually making that investment, they actually get a greater result in the long run. In the short run, it may not feel that way, but in the long run, that's the real benefit.
Yeah. I got you. I mean, I absolutely hear what you're saying. I have a couple people who are on the Facebook Live who have a couple questions. There's Elaine.
Sure.
She says, is it a turnoff for a man if a woman shows too much interest? That's from Elaine.
Well, I guess the question is too much interest. So I like to think of it like a seesaw. He makes some effort with some interest. You make effort and interest. He makes effort and interest. You make effort and interest. If it's too much, you have to ask, does it feel imbalanced?
But then how do you...
Certainly, but by the way, but you have to understand, we men need your interest. Otherwise, we're not going to feel good about you. If there's zero interest, it really fucking sucks, excuse my French.
Yeah.
If it's moderate interest, here's the problem with moderate interest, because let's differentiate. He's going to make a lot extra effort, but what if it is sincerely, you just don't feel it for him?
Yeah.
It's kind of sucky when somebody makes a lot of effort and you're not feeling it for them. It might be fun for the ego. The ego loves that. That's the reason why you said in your 20s, you loved it. Your ego loved that.
Yeah.
By the way, ego is in your subconscious. It's not your conscious mind.
Yeah.
So now too much interest might be an element where you're coming from a place of needing.
Women's behavior can come off as neediness for men a lot of times. Like, I feel like a lot of men interpret certain actions and certain, certain ways of being, certain behaviors, certain ways you speak to them. I think that they often interpret neediness very
I want to say something for the group that's watching, because this piggybacks on something you said earlier. You said you're not really a dating or relationship coach, you're a self-love coach. And it's something to that effect. Yeah, but here's my point in sharing this. For those listening, when you love yourself so much that no matter what happens in the dating realm, you're okay, you're never going to need any one of us. Because your inner guidance is going to be so on tune that you're never going to have to ask, is it too much? Do I need to do this? When you are in tune to who you are, in your heart, in your soul, in your own sovereignty of self-love, so we're giving you some guidelines to think about, but the invitation I want to encourage everyone is how to fill your own love cup up.
See, I don't disagree with that. And I feel like at this age of filling my own love cup, I tend to be someone who doesn't necessarily need to, talk to someone every day or reach out all the time. And that's been interpreted as me either not being interested or, I guess you didn't really want to talk to me or, and I'm not saying that it like from a victim place, because I didn't, wasn't something that I felt like, oh no, I didn't mean that or anything like that. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I do think that part of the whole difficulty with men and women in finding that balance in communication is because our generation did come from that men chemically need to pursue. Even Shanton, who's one of my regular guests, he was a guest expert a few weeks ago. He said, absolutely, men should chase. We're hunters by nature. You're the catch. You're the prize. You're supposed to be chased. So
you know what? I want to disagree with that 100%.
I know you do, but
let me tell you why. That's creating...
Hold on a second. I know that you totally disagree with it, and I love that you're coming from a different perspective, but you have to know that there's still a lot of men out there, especially of our generation, who also believe that too. So then for the women out there who are listening, I don't know. What's the answer?
Well, where I'm disagreeing with him, to make a woman the prize, to say all that, is putting people on pedestal. And it's rhetoric, quite frankly. It's rhetoric. No, the other person, when you're sitting across the table at a date, the person sitting across from you has no greater value than you yourself. I don't value the woman more than I value myself. So those words are they're very damning. I want to say you have to be careful in languaging, because I'm also a prize too for that man. And so I just want to be, that's where I'm having some resistance around it, only because it's not about effort. Effort and chase are two different things. I am all for a man making effort. I'm also for a woman making the compensatory effort. It's a seesaw kind of thing.
That's
now you said something.
And what you're saying is the distinction between effort and chase. So how do you know the distinction for the people who are listening?
You know how you know? By you get real quickly. So when you say you don't have a need to go, like you're in your own self-love, you don't have any need to communicate with them. But here's the bottom line. How definitive are you in what you want in a relationship? And are you crystal clear on what you want in a relationship? You crystal clear? Do you know what you're looking for in partnership? It's one of the things I work with my clients. I work with women that have, it shocks me. I talk to women, Jonathon, I want more commitment from the man I'm dating. Great. What does that look like for you? I want more commitment from him. I'm like, great. What does that look like for you? I want more commitment. I'm like, if you can't define what that looks like, so having clarity and communicating your clarity clearly. So I'll give you an example. I'm single. On my dating profile it says I'm looking to spend 3 or 4 days a week together doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. If we're going to invest in getting to know one another, this is where that's my starting point. So if that's too much for someone, even at the starting point, oh wait, that's too much. Now, I'm not saying you just you dive into a relationship, but that's where I'm headed. And I don't need more than 3 or 4 dates to know whether or not we're going to be. So that's my point, is communicate what you're looking for clearly.
You cut out a little bit, so I missed part of what you said.
I said, so communicate what you're looking for very clearly by first knowing what you're looking for.
Sure. No, I don't.
And not at the 40,000 foot level.
Yeah. No, wait, what's that? What's the 40,000 foot level?
Well, it's like that woman I said, I want more commitment. What does that look like for you? She's in the clouds.
Gotcha.
It's like mine is defined. 3 or 4 days and nights a week together, doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends, exploring travel, exploring partnership. In other words, I'm very deliberate. I want to explore a relationship with you. It shouldn't take more than 3 dates to figure that out.
Yeah.
And by the way, because you're actually investing in the friendship.
Gotcha. No, I do like the idea of starting with a friendship. And I also like the idea of...
With kissing.
Well, see, then I think that makes it once again in that romantic zone of friendship.
Well, the thing is, you need to have some physicality. There has to be, I'm not saying, and by the way, because men want kissing and women want kissing too. What I mean is, and kissing is up to a point. I do believe that there is a danger on some level. There is when I use the word danger of jumping into bed is where I was going, is the danger is, sex is sex, but sex is a very intimate act. And I believe there is something about it that should be cherished. Now, I'm not saying you have to wait till you get married kind of cherish the sex, but certainly really invest if this is your friend you're with. And I've heard this by other people, but someone once told me you need to spend about 100 hours of face-to-face time to develop friendship. 100 hours. Yeah. That's a fair amount of time. Now, that can include some telephone time and such, but mostly face-to-face time.
Yeah.
that's if you really do want a truly extraordinary relationship, then you have to be able to make the investment from a conscious level and not an unconscious level of chase. And chase is merely lust.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, so wait, Francie says, we are all the prize and you find the sparks when both parties in the relationship recognize and respect this. And then Shanton came back with, I'm not devaluing who I am as a man, although I'm a prize as well. However, I believe the man is to pursue the woman. The thrill of the pursuit is very intriguing to me. Yes, I need to see effort from her. I believe as men, we never stop pursuing the woman even after you have her. It's just what I believe, is what Shanton said.
That just, okay, so we never stop chasing. Chasing is here's the thing. I'm really adamant about the difference between effort and chasing. There's an element in one's consciousness, okay? I believe I'm going to say the word dangerous word, but it certainly has the potential of creating problems. Whereas I'm all for men making effort. For the women listening, please understand this. I am all for men giving 100% effort. I'm also saying I'm all for women giving 100% effort.
Yeah.
This is where you're really valuing the man as much by him. If he's making effort towards you, then you know what? Then make the investment in him as well. Either emotional, communicative. Maybe, like I said, I use treating for a date as a way of demonstrating effort.
Got it. No, I like it. And there's also something that you mentioned in one of your videos called inspiring hanging out together. That you talked about, reaching out and then inspiring that question of, can we get together? So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So what I mean by inspiring to hang out, the art of hanging out has kind of been a lost art.
Yeah.
In fact, it's actually frowned upon. Men say, hey, I want to hang out, is really a great thing. I believe that there's more benefit to hanging out in the early phase versus going out. Hanging out might be as much as saying, hey, it's Saturday. You know what? I really want to connect with you. Want to hang out and go for a hike.
Yeah.
Okay? And if the weather is, in New York, it might be raining, might be there's some other thing the hanging out is the friendship piece. It's saying, I want to connect with you. I'm going to tell you something. There was a woman who I connected with not too long ago, and it was a Saturday morning, and I sent her a text message at 8 a.m., and I said, hey, it turns out I'm doing nothing today. Would you like to do nothing together? Now, and I said it kind of tongue-in-cheek, with an emoji or whatnot, but the point was, hey, I have free time. Do you have free time? And then we just went and explored the beach, because she lives near the beach. Yeah. And so, but we had no agenda.
Yeah.
So here's the thing I want to caution those listening. If you have an expectation from a man that he's supposed to do things a certain way, he is always going to let you down, because expectations are the mother of disaster and desperation is her sister. That's a friend of mine's quote. I really, because we don't expect things from friends. Okay, now, when I say friendship here, I'm saying when you really connect at a heartfelt level, you take the expectations out and you want to connect with that human being. And that's what hanging out. So you inspire it by suggesting it. I really just want to connect with you and hang out. If the man is resistant and he has a problem with it, that guy, you're going to have problems with him for the rest of your life. Don't get excited about that guy who has a problem with you. I'm saying, when you're coming from the heart and it's sincere, and if he rejects it, he's not your guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also think you're bringing up, and it's making me think of another point, because I've always felt like, too, if it takes a lot of effort to get someone to hang out with you or go on a date with you or whatever, you're setting up the dynamic of the relationship. You'll be efforting for, even if you do suck that person in, you'll be efforting for the rest of the relationship, right? Like you can pull someone along, and so Tim Wells chimed in on the live. He says hanging out left when the cell phone was introduced. I don't know what he means by that, but maybe he's thinking the digital age kind of affects that ability to just, like you had said, you reached out to the woman, was like, let's spend no time together, or let's spend, I have time, you have time. But I mean, he makes a good point in that so many people rely on texting and social media now. Yeah.
So you have to recognize that up until 20 years ago, we didn't have technology to keep us connected. Yeah. What we had, the most important thing, was proximity. The further apart two people live, the harder it is to create continuity. So for every mile of distance, the harder it is. The word continuity is like roots to a tree. It's like roots, building roots.
Yeah.
So with text messaging, you could be communicating with someone who lives 25 miles away, feel connected with them. Oh my God, I have such amazing connection. We're texting, we're talking, we're texting, we're talking, we're texting and talking. And then he goes. Because that's not real connection. Yeah. Virtual connection is not the same. It might feel that way from a biological level for a short period of time, but the bodies are buried from here to the moon. Where cyber relationships don't work because you're not actually, okay, so here's the other element. When I said 3 or 4 days and nights a week together doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, spending time with family and friends. Why is that so important? And teamwork. Why is that so important is a relationship isn't always about the good stuff. It's about a lot of the, relationship is like, hey, I'm having, some emergency happen with my family and I need you to be patient with me. There's a lot of moving parts that are also not the good, fun stuff.
Yeah.
So by investing in the connectivity of the relationship, you have the potential of developing the roots that will withstand the storms that are going to happen in relationship.
Now, here's the thing about everything that you just said, which I think is totally valid. However, it makes me feel so, old. Because I feel like it takes all of the honeymoon fun period out of that beginning stuff. So, dating online, you put in your profile, I want some, obviously, if we want to get in a relationship, we do want somebody who's there for the good and the bad. But if we're starting out with this, I don't know, that framework of
can I just say, that's ego's way of going, I just want to have a lot of fun, Jonathan, so I can have a shitty marriage 2 years later. Do you know how many people have miserable marriages that started out fun in the beginning? I'm offering an alternate way of looking at this. When you build a deep, rich connection right from the beginning, you also have the potential of learning how to continually romancing each other for the rest of your lives. Okay?
Yeah, but I also think that has to do with starting out from a foundation of joyfulness. Obviously, life has its challenges, things come up, things like that. I mean, we know that's what life is.
If that were so true, if that was such a true statement, then why are there so many miserable relationships? Because every relationship throughout history has started off, I'm sorry, that's not the basis for success.
I don't know that I was being that hyperbolic about how it's just.
Well, I was being tongue-in-cheek, too.
Huh?
I'm being tongue-in-cheek, come on.
You are a little bit. But I do think there's something to be said for when we start out, and it falls in alignment with what you're saying about being friends and hanging out and developing our friendship, is let's just start with the joy part. Let's just, because we know life is going to have challenges to it, but do we have to present that we need somebody who's gonna I don't know.
Sweetheart, there's a lot. Here's the thing. Life is going to happen anyway. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. And here's the thing. It happens after the first date anyway. You could lose a loved one. You could have a medical procedure. Life is going to happen. And to be benign. And here's the other thing. Everybody comes to the table with a lot of fucking baggage too, or shit. Excuse my French, okay? And I'm being tongue-in-cheek, okay? We all have our stuff. It's going to surface, okay? So to act naive to that and go, I just want joy, and that's not what you said, but to be hyper focused on joy, you're setting yourself up for failure. That's why, my advice is contrarian, because of all the emotional unrest that has happened by approaching the process very naively, without intentionality and purposefulness, and really, because I think the best relationships are what's called friendship on fire. Okay? That's why I said kissing is important. You have to feel connection. Okay? When I say friendship, I think you're actually thinking of it the way you think of a friend. I'm saying in romantic love, it's building a deeper bond with one another.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like, see, this is where because I think on some level you might be thinking, or other people might be perceiving this. I'm not talking about friend zone. I'm talking about real connection with another human being.
Yeah.
Deep.
Oh, I get that.
And by the way, that starts by being vulnerable very early on. Being vulnerable about who you are, because when I can accept you in your vulnerable state, and you can accept the man, that's a deeper, richer connection of love.
Yeah.
It's not surface level love, and that's why I'm argumentative a little bit, because I'm pausing, because a couple of the other comments, men chase, you're the pedestal, all that stuff. That's surface level love. That's not deep, rich love.
Yeah. I'm not negating what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I just think that there is this sort of happy medium. And there is this sort of you were talking about the profile. Like Lee chimed in, he says, he sounds like the dating profile is an expectation. And then he says, some of these miserable relationships may have one-sided effort and one-sided chasing. So those are two different concepts that he's talking about. But
what was the first thing he said, though? Was the first thing?
With the dating profile, he said it sounds like the dating profile is an expectation. So
wait, was he saying my profile?
Yeah, because you were talking about your dating profile.
No. That's a great question. It is the framework of what I want. There's a big difference between expectation and what I want. I'm just stating what I want. The other person has a choice that says, hey, that resonates with me or not. Okay? If it doesn't resonate with a person, then that means we're misaligned. I'm looking for someone who says, wow, I want that too. Okay? So it's not an expectation, it's a framework for what I want.
Yes, I get that. I think, and Lee's listening, so I'm sure he heard that. But what we were talking about before, as far as because I don't know if you know Dr. Sharon Cohen. She was on the show last week, and we talked about dating profiles specifically. And she talked a lot about when you fill out a dating profile, or when you're writing whatever your summary is, your description. Here's the thing. I am clarity girl. So I'm 100% on your page as far as being so crystal clear about what you want in your life, and being able to decipher, whether something aligns with it or not. I love that conversation. But she brought a new element into it that talked about the dating profile being your way of expressing the joy and the positivity and an experience with you, as opposed to the specifics of, this is how I would want life to go. So I'm not saying that one is wrong or one is right, but I'm saying in putting the certain parameters in your profile, for me,
I totally can understand that there's an element of a dating profile you want to be able to demonstrate your inner spirit, if you will. Okay? Yeah. I can understand that. But a relationship is a lot more than inner spirit. A relationship is about compatibility.
Sure.
I mean, the bottom line is, so if you're clear on your profile and saying, this is who I am and what I want, okay? Are you on the same page? Now, I'm talking about the core things like values, blendable lifestyles, and certainly emotional maturity, which is very hard to assess from a dating profile. The one thing a dating profile doesn't do is help anyone figure out, is this person across the table from me on this date emotionally mature?
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why I teach women how to assess emotional maturity from a man. That's one of the key foundations. I've created a 70-page workbook for women to really learn, is this guy a grown-up or is he a child?
Yeah.
Okay, so, but under the value of bringing up what I'm suggesting is, do we have blendable lifestyles? And it gets kind of tricky at midlife. You know, a lot of people don't want, like some men my age don't want to date someone who has children because they're empty nesters. Some women don't want to date men with children, empty nesters. So we put specifics to save each other time.
Got it.
I add my, by the way, if any woman, by the way, just this is in my own defense, like my ego got bruised a little bit. If any woman has a problem with 3 or 4 days and nights a week together doing shared activities, hobbies, mutual interests, and spending time with family and friends, I'm like, that's what you should be wanting a guy to say.
Yeah.
You should want a guy to say, I want to invest in this relationship. You know, and I'm putting it out there right up front to be seen. So
I got you. No, I hear that. I hear what you're saying. Lee has another question. He says, what's the difference between establishing the framework and establishing an expectation then? So I don't know what he's referring to.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. If he can give me an example, that would help.
Lee, give us an example when you get a chance. In the meantime, this hour goes by so fast. Jonathan, I love this lively conversation. I'm hoping that you will be a friend of the show and come back again, because I feel like there's so
I'd be more
much
than happy to.
cover. Yeah, and there's 2 things that I want to make sure that we do. Actually, there's 3 things I want to make sure that we do. First, I want you to give an action step for going from being someone who just sits around waiting to be called and waiting to be chased, or being someone who is a stalker and always calling and needy and wanting to call the person all the time. I just want an action step to get somewhere in the middle of that spectrum, that healthy place in that spectrum for either way. And then after that, I want to try to see if we can fit in our vulnerability quiz, 3-minute vulnerability quiz that I have all my guests take. And then I'm going to give you a chance to let everybody know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah. So I think it's very simple action step. It might be as simple as a text message. Say, hey, I want to check in with you. You know, I've been thinking about you and I'd like to connect with you.
This is for a woman who's been waiting to be chased.
Well, if that's the parameters, that's one way of doing it. I'd like to check in with you. I'd like to connect with you. Connect is not, the benefit of connect is there's a deeper, richer, that's a very deep and rich word. I want to connect with you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not I want to see you. It's not I want to talk. I want to connect with you, and whatever that looks like. A connect could be a telephone call. That connect could be seeing each other. But now, here's the thing. I'm all for men making effort, so I want everyone listening to be crystal clear. You know, if you've seen someone you haven't heard from them in a week, here's the challenge. Be careful expecting the man to make the next move. I'm all for like, hey, I just really appreciate you and I want to connect with you.
Got it.
And then see if a dialogue exchanges. Sometimes, by the way, a lot of men are shy and bashful, and there's a lot of other things we didn't get a chance to get into, why they may not chase, but they might be great candidates to be in relationship with. So.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan.
Vulnerability quiz. You're welcome.
Vulnerability quiz. Thank you, Jonathan. I have to say, I just want to acknowledge you for bringing it and making it a fun conversation. Are you ready to take the vulnerability quiz?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm putting 3 minutes on the clock. Just answer as many questions as you can. If you hear one you don't want to answer, just pass and I'll go to the next one.
Okay.
Okay, ready? What are you passionate about?
I'm passionate about love.
What's your purpose?
Huh?
What's your purpose? Your purpose in life?
What's my purpose is to connect to my inner peace and being an expression of love.
Name something you identify as a true expression of who you are.
Say the question again, only because I misinterpreted the word.
Name something that you identify as a true expression of who you are.
I think it's my new book that I just wrote called What the Heck is Self-Love Anyway? It's a real true expression of me.
Awesome, and a nice plug too. What's your deepest romantic desire?
Oh, mine just to connect with someone, mind, body, and soul.
Okay. What's your favorite thing to do for someone that you love?
Oh, you know what? Finding out the little things that they like and doing it for them. Like,
Okay.
and I could elaborate, but I won't.
You can. I mean,
No, I just want to quickly. My ex-girlfriend used to, make tea in the morning, and I'd always prepare it, put a little note in it, like just I did it because I woke up before she did, and that was an expression of my heart and love.
Awesome. Who do you admire most in your industry?
I'm going to pass on that.
Okay. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
My brand new book that literally was just published. And let me just say this. This was inspired by the loss of my 19-year-old son. My 19-year-old son who passed away inspired me to write a book in 7 months.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And it's published. Yeah.
I'm so sorry about your son, though.
Thank you.
Yeah. What is your most desired future vision?
I hold space that there can be peace on this planet.
Okay. What's something that you always do when you're alone?
Besides masturbate? I just don't like doing that when someone else is there. No. The list is long and
Okay. What's something that very few people know about you? We got 20 seconds. And I think
I made a hole-in-one and won a car in 1995. I made a hole-in-one and won a car in 1995.
Awesome. What's something you feel a little guilty about?
I feel a little guilt that I didn't spend more time with my children after the divorce.
Okay. Who's your celebrity soulmate?
Oh, God. Who's the one that just, Grace Kelly?
Oh, that's a good one. So now the Armed Radio people are about to leave us. We're going to take a couple more minutes on the Facebook Live. I want you to quickly be able to tell the audio people before they go where they can find you.
Where they can find me, actually write this down. Self-Love the Book. Self-Love the Book. I'm very proud of it, and I'd encourage everyone to check it out. Selflovethebook.com, excuse me. Selflovethebook.com.
So Armed Radio people, hopefully you got that down because I know that you're about to leave us. Those of you who are on the Facebook Live can stick around for a couple more minutes. Armed Radio people, never forget you're a love machine. If you ever feel like you're not getting enough, just make more and ask for Candy. Thank you for being here. I love you so much, Armed Radio, and I'll see you next Monday. I know you're leaving soon. For the Facebook Live people, thank you guys so much for being here. Jonathan, are there any other nuggets for the live people? Anything else you want to say before we tell you farewell until the next time? Because I definitely want to come back on the show.
Well, I just want to first a quick apology because I interrupted you a few times. I'm just very passionate about getting my point of view across. So I just want to own that next time. You're a fantastic interviewer. You really are. You have great energy. You're stunningly beautiful just looking at you on the screen. And I'm just honored that you had me as a guest.
Aw, thank you, Jonathan. You're going to, trust me, honey, I'll be getting back in touch with you. You're gonna be back on the show. You give good conversation.
My pleasure.
So much fun. Thank you so much. Bye, Jonathan.
Bye-bye now.
Oh, Facebook Live people, that was so much fun. I loved having Jonathan on the show. So you guys, thank you so much for being here. Lee, as always, I see you, CHLC. Oh, I love you, honey. I love all you guys for watching. I love you for tuning in and participating in the conversation. You know I'll come back later and have my comments. And Jonathan's my Facebook friend, so I'm sure he'll come back too if you guys have any more questions or any more comments. You want to interact with us a little bit more. As always, I want you guys to know about my 12 Women Intensive that's coming up. I'm always doing the next one, so I'm collecting 12 women together. So if you have survived parental or partner abuse and you want to move the past out of the way, throw away that emotional baggage, and become vibrant, alive, magnetic, and passionate while creating a love life that really lights you up, some healthy relationships, just, I'm going to put my link for my business page. Reach out to me. You can take the questionnaire and get in touch with me. However, there's a million ways on social media. Instagram, I'm at Candy Love Coach. And also you can click for a love crisis emergency call if you just need some quick coaching. You've got some sort of crisis going on. And like I said earlier, this year's theme is Badass Bachelors. That's right, this summer I'll be focusing on badass single men over 35 all summer long, because for all the ladies out there who have bought into the statistics that there are no good men out there, I want to dispel the myths, because we're walking around fulfilling our own prophecy. So I want to prove to you that great guys do exist. So if you're a single guy over the age of 35, if you are living on purpose and making a major contribution to the world, if you are self-accepted, sure of who you are and what you want, open to a long-term relationship and ready to share yourself with someone great, I want you to come on the show and tell your story, because your woman might be out there, she might be listening, and I want you to help me prove that you are not a unicorn. So it's going to be 3 months in the summer. So what? That's 12 shows. We got to fill 12 spots of badass bachelors to make sure that, you know, I can prove to you guys that they actually do exist. There's some really great single guys out there. We just had one on the show. So also shout out to the Creative Love Collective and to Armed Radio. Thank you so much for everything you do. And for those who are watching live in the group, you guys know I love you so much. And I so appreciate that you come back every Monday. And for the new people, welcome. You're always welcome. And until next time, never forget that you're a love machine. If you ever start to feel like you aren't getting the love you need, just make more and ask for candy. And I will see you next Monday. I love you guys so much. I brought you into my boudoir this time. I felt like, you know, have it be a little intimate. Why not? Anyway, I love you guys. Take care. Have a great Monday. Bye now.
Candy, I call my sugar.